What is web recorder configuration, also known as web application profile in Rapise? Rapise has a web recorder. When you start recording, Rapise intercepts your keyboard and mouse and adds the UI elements you are interacting with to the object tree. For each such element, Rapise generates an XPATH locator. Though it usually makes a great job generating XPATH locators for elements, default web recorder settings do not fit all web applications. For complex modern applications, you may need to configure the web recorder to get the most out of it. Why we may need to change web recorder configuration? The short answer is to generate resilient XPATH locators for elements. What resilient means? Resilient locators should work when the application under test is reloaded because of the browser restart or new web session, work after small changes to application style or layout, and be easy to understand for the case if manual tweaking will be required. Why is it important to have resilient locators? There are several reasons for that. An application may use dynamically generated attributes, for example, element IDs. If an element locator uses a dynamic ID, it won't work after application reload. Recording every attribute is not a good idea. Some attributes are used for styling, layout, tooltips, and are changed frequently, and may easily break locators. Also, attribute values may be too generic or have no semantic meaning. Recording full path is also a bad idea. Long locator is fragile, hard to understand, and is hard to fix. The longer the path, the greater probability it may become invalid after a tiny application update. How to add web recorder configuration to a test? It is easy. Right-click the test node in the Files view and choose Create WebAppProfile JSON. Let's look at the components of the web recorder configuration. You may define what attributes and classes to capture. Choose attributes that differentiate an element best and are not subject to frequent changes. To choose the right attributes and class names, look at the DOM tree. You may use the web spy and its hidden commands. Let's see it in action. Launch the web spy and wait for it to load the DOM tree. On the toolbar, click Spy and enable CSS Locator test field. Give more space to the test results section. Type R:\attrs and hit Enter. You will see the names of all attributes used on the page. Type R:\attr and an attribute name to see all values of a given attribute. By default, Rapise does not record clicks on spans and divs. These elements are usually non-specific and do not have semantic meaning. So Rapise tries to stick to containers of these elements. You may change the behavior by specifying class names of elements. Clicks on elements with those class names will be always recorded. Anchors. This is the most advanced configuration scenario. If an element is a child of an anchor element, its XPath is calculated relative to the anchor. Also, if an element coincides with an anchor, anchor XPath is used. Let's see anchors in action. In this example, when a click on a table cell is recorded, the generated XPath does not reference the table. I launch the web spy and test the XPath referencing the table root. Then I define the anchor in the WebAppProfile JSON. Recording the click again. Now generated XPATH contains the prefix referencing the table root. Next example. I record the click on my page button. The recorded object has a long name derived from a tooltip, and its XPath is using area label attribute. Removing the recorded object. Now I am adding another anchor with the XPath and name I want to be recorded for the My Page button. Recording the click again. Notice the name of the recorded object. The recorded locator is also different. It does not use area label attribute and it is exactly the same as specified in the WebAppProfile. How to better name an element for the object repository? Default algorithm may not produce good enough results in all cases. You may write a custom handler to fine-tune the naming process. In this function, you have access to all element attributes. What if there are exceptions when generic attribute selection method is not applicable? Write a handler to exclude attributes you do not need in a specific case. For example, title attribute of an input element frequently reflects the entered text, and it may be different depending on the data used in testing. Such an attribute may break a locator. But title attribute in other cases may be very useful. It is worth to spend some time on recorder configuration before starting a test automation project, because it may save a lot of time in the future. The configuration may be created by an experienced automation engineer and then used by the whole QA team. WebAppProfile makes recorded XPath resilient and reduces or completely eliminates the need for manual tweaking of element locators after recording and after application updates. Find the link to detailed WebAppProfile documentation in the video description. Thanks for watching.